Warning: this show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewers' discretion is advised. This show may contain strong language and sensitive or controversial topics. We are not attorneys and are not providing legal advice. The views and conversations are our own thoughts and feelings, and therefore, purely speculation.
The entertainment world and beyond.
Skywalker, air miles, feeding on a surface, glide on water, constricted and conflicted.
Welcome to Purely Speculation, a show that exposes the harmful effects of the criminal legal system. I'm your host, Heather Lewis, the Executive Director of the Reuniting Family Bail Fund and practitioner of participatory defense. On this show, you'll learn about the unspoken horrors of the criminal justice system and meet fierce allies and advocates. We will make the best of our traumatic experiences. We will get angry. We may even cry. We most certainly going to laugh, but one thing's for sure, we're going to keep it real. Welcome to Purely Speculation.
When they free my sins and let them loose, they was killing me, I got scars to prove, got me paralyzed, I could even barely move. Out the way I took the pain again.
Hey, y'all. Welcome. Season 3, Volume 25, Purely Speculation, Court Watch Edition. We got our main man, Scotty Tags, back in the house. Welcome back, dude.
Hey, thank you. Glad to be back.
Glad to have
you. Hiatus.
We missed you. I mean, Taria kept it interesting now. Don't. If we didn't have a good time, we absolutely had a good time.
Yeah, you know
it. So the topic for tonight, which I sent to Zach, but he sent me back a question mark, is injustices happen in empty courtrooms. And what that means is that when nobody's there to observe what's happening in the courtroom, you can almost guarantee that folks will have a tendency or will stray from the rules of law, the guidelines. They kind of feel like they're the rulers of their own castle. And what goes on in their courtroom, like, is their business, their way. And regardless if it's, violating people's civil rights or going against the Constitution, violating a law, there's nobody there to hold them accountable. So therefore, they're more likely to kind of go in and stray into the weeds, so to speak. And so one of the purposes of court watching is to hold these court actors accountable, whether it from the judge on down to the jury, right? And everybody in between. It's not just we're watching judges. We're not just watching the ADAs or the public defenders, but we're watching all the court actors and how they behave in this setting on a regular basis. And so, but also to not just the injustices happen in the empty courtrooms, but actually on occasion, justice does happen and we're not necessarily there to see it. It happens, with the defendant who received that win. And sometimes they're not going to share that with their community because they don't want people knowing they're in trouble in the first place. So we are, as observers, want to highlight the injustices and the wins all the same so that we can make sure that folks are doing the right thing, that they learn what's supposed to be happening in the courtroom, how it's supposed to be operating, and that they can call out something if it's a violation of something, and that we can get it fixed and no innocent person or somebody gets overcharged or oversentenced or anything like that, that fair and equal justice under the law happens. So that is one of the critical reasons for court watching. We are court watching this week with a homicide case, but that one's last. So, Taria, I'm gonna give you a second to unmute yourself because you're gonna be up because we're gonna be talking about this. And I titled it "Preliminary Arraignments: Hearing Through the Bars." Now, you tell me what that means.
I'm taking that means when defendants get arraigned and they're talking through the bars of the police station or the county prison.
Absolutely. Now, has it been the prison? Has the prison done that too, or just the county? Just the
just the police stations,
police departments? Yeah.
stations.
Yes, that is exactly what that means. And I thought it was like a really cute play on words, hearing through the bars. And because that's exactly what's happening. And she froze. So I'm gonna talk until she popped back in, unless somebody else can hear.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yep, go ahead. Yep.
It was it's certain police stations. I can't say all of them because I know that it's certain police stations that do that, but I can't say that Cheltenham does that. I can't say that Chester County Police Station does that. It's mainly the police stations like well, Plymouth, they take their people all the way to MCCF. So it's certain police stations that do it.
Right. And
Yeah.
as a court watcher, those are one of the things that we'll pay attention to, so that when we have to, move on it or call somebody out on it, we're going to be able to point the finger at the perpetrators. So, and we had an opportunity to witness it and actually share it with some folks that have never court watched, and they were just appalled at the inhumanity, the laziness. There are other court watchers on there with you. That anybody shared any feedback of how that made them feel to see people having to have their arraignment through the bars?
But let me ask you this. The people that were behind bars, were they represented by a lawyer with this arraignment going on? Was there a lawyer there to represent them?
Yeah, yes, it was. So now that's the whole thing about pretrials.
Right.
You do get a representation right there on the time of your arrest. If you don't qualify, they still represent you, but you just can't go. They can't continue on with you. Either got to get a private attorney, or you have to get a private attorney or represent yourself.
So they are not in a position to request that you don't arraign them while they're behind bars.
No, the only person that called it out so far that I seen was one judge, and he was like, take behind the bars.
Right.
And the crazy thing is, it's the same police station, but once I get on arraignments again, and I see that, because the police stations come through a lot, I'm going to specifically write down that police station that does it the most and call them out next time.
Because I would think that we could make a note of this, send it to the public defender's office, and have them or the court administration, and say, hey, these police departments aren't bringing the defendants out from the cell for their arraignment hearings. That's inhumane. It's prejudicial to the judge to see them in that capacity. That's just not acceptable.
That's the main thing I'm talking about, that it's definitely prejudicial, because if the judge sees that they scared to bring you down out front, you must be a real bad character. And it might be a lockup for retail theft. Don't have nothing to do with how bad you are, how good you are. It's that you have a problem. But if you behind bars, they don't bring you down. I mean, the lawyer should have something to say about that.
Right.
You shouldn't be behind
And
bars.
I agree with you. And I agree with you, because that was a case the other day. It was a lady behind bars. I want to say Cheltenham Police Station, because it was a lady behind bars, and it was just for a retail theft.
Right. And that's just, and not only that, I mean, if there were any thoughts like similar to what you said, Scotty, that you're guilty, regardless of how good or bad you are, that you're guilty because you locked up. Like it's all this imagery and what do they call that? Innuendos and subliminal messages. Like, you know what I mean? It already sets the tone for this person.
Right. So you're not going to get the bail that you would get if you were outside those bars. That's for sure.
Right. Right. So Taria, that is your task. We need to know. So when we do assemble, our complaint. We have, the guilty police departments that are doing this, and we can send it to the folks over at the courthouse with what we just said, that it's prejudicial, it gives all these types of, and it's inhumane.
It definitely has to be called out. It definitely has to be called out. And I'll tell you another thing. The president judge of the Common Pleas Court, I bet you they don't know that's going on.
Probably don't.
Because they have a say in whether that can be stopped. Because you're not getting a fair arraignment. It's a presidential arraignment. You're not getting a fair arraignment.
Taria, how many times have you seen somebody behind the bars? I know it's been at least 2.
A lot, a lot. And like I said, one judge called it out. It was a male judge that called it out, but I just can't think of which judge called it out. I'm going to ask one of the public defenders that's on the pretrial services line to ask what judge that was that called it out.
Okay.
And let me ask you this. The 2 that were behind bars when they got arraigned, what kind of bail did they get?
Well, the lady got $5,000 cash bail, and the other person that was behind bars got $30,000 cash bail.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm talking about.
Exactly. And so if
bail, not OR, not 10% cash bail.
Yeah, if Taria
go to a bail's bondman in order to get out.
Right. And cost you money, because that that. And if Taria
10%.
right. And if Taria wasn't there to see it and didn't, wasn't connected to us, it would continue to go on and would probably become the norm if allowed to go on for too long.
And that's just what you said about an empty courtroom.
Exactly. Taria, the other court watchers, did they make any comment or note or think that was strange?
And that's the thing. They take a lot of notes. So I'm for sure that they probably exactly has the laydown of the judge that said for them to bring them out of the cell, and also seen it happen many a times, because they're usually on the same time I'm on. Right. And that's 9:30, 2:30. And well, actually they're on 9:31. We're on 9:31, 2:30, and 7:30.
So they're sitting in the bail review hearings as well?
Yes. They just started doing that.
Okay.
So
anything else you go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so the court watchers that were on last week, none of them reported back to you about what they've seen or with notes or anything?
No, they don't report to us.
Who do they report to?
Vera.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yep. Taria's there in capacity for the bail fund. They're, doing the research grant with Vera.
Right.
And they're also, and I also know that they do not, I'm wondering that it's a process that you have to go through, I guess, to be on there in a public setting. So I know that they were not allowing people to come through. I know the other morning one of us got through, but I don't think she got through after 9:30. Because I seen her on there personally at 9:30, and 2:30 and 7:30 she didn't get pit through.
Right. And that's the issue that we talked about several times. I'm not sure if we still have the Zoom link in queue, but we've shared the Zoom link, and if people are trying to get on and the court admin doesn't know who they are, they're not going to let them in. And it's like, why are they gatekeeping access to a public hearing?
Because of what you just witnessed, them doing this stuff behind bars. That's why they don't want you on there. enough people that see that and know how crazy it is for that person to get a fair hearing, then they don't want that to happen because they pulling the covers back. They don't want the covers pulled back on the justice system and the way that they're putting that stuff out there like that. That's crazy. How am I going to even be okay, fair? How are you going to treat me fair when you got me behind bars at an arraignment?
Right.
Yeah, you're not. No charges are going to be dropped. You know, usually that's the chance to get some of the charges dropped, or at least to start a fair shake. And you're not going to get that already locked up. The improprieties are huge.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, that might be the good start that we need to start really advocating and pushing for them to make this link forward facing to the community. If they have to adjust for whatever it is that they've got a screen or whatever, I don't know what safety measures would need to be in place other than their system being able to host a number of guests. I mean, I really don't understand what, limitations they would have. Courtrooms have limited seating, so.
Does viewers, will they share the paperwork that they have?
Yes.
Yeah, we need to get that paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
And also, like you said, we need to keep getting more people to come in to the courts, because the more people they see in court, the less they'll try to pull this kind of junk.
Right. Yep. Tree, got anything else on preliminary arraignments? Anything else make you scratch your head?
No, it's just so far I think I've seen 12 of the 29 judges so far. So
okay.
It's definitely interesting. And I did the other day have a encounterment with one judge, and I thought it was really nice of him though, because I was sitting in the waiting room for like 15 minutes, and he took it upon himself to come on and tell me that they only had one case, and he didn't want me just to be sitting there. And he was like, I don't know, I don't know what kind of notes that you, I don't know what you guys take down or anything. He said, but I can let you know. He said, because I know you do this for a program. And he was like, but I can give you the details of the situation that happened. And he gave me it was a DUI case. He told me the bail conditions, the priors and things like that. And we just talked for a brief minute, and he was just telling me that, he's new at this. He's only been on the bench about a year, and he's still trying to get it right.
Okay. I like that.
But he did used to be on the other side before, and then he was a attorney general also.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll have him on the show. Maybe we'll have him on the show, because that sounds like somebody that has been in all facets of the criminal legal system, or at least being on the bench and seeing what it's like, and probably, like you said, he wants to get it right, so he knows what's wrong. So yeah, we appreciate that. All right, our next topic. So last week, Scotty and I were in court because our girl Danielle, who is a public defender here in Montgomery County, had her first jury trial last Friday. And we definitely wanted to make sure that we came and supported her, not only for her in her first jury trial, but also to with a challenging judge. Now, this judge, Judge Rothstein, happens to like us, right? She's seen myself, she's seen Taria, Scotty, all in her courtroom. She's very friendly, will call us out and speak to young people, and, loves what we're doing. But for some reason, she has is a stickler for Danielle And so we also wanted to make sure that we created a buffer for her, so that whatever Rothstein thought she was going to do, whatever, malice or whatever it is, we don't know what it is, that she'd have to check that shit at the door, because you're not going to do that on our watch, not to our girl, not in our face. And so the case was an interesting case. I mean, the more we watch, the more you'll see that the DA just be trying all types of bullshit. Like, this case was a caregiver of an adult person with special needs, and he was having a bad day. And so therefore his bad day turned into his caretaker having a bad day. And so they're both having a bad day in this park. And there happened to be somebody else in the park that witnessed them having a bad day and proceeded to record them, albeit secretively, and tried to put him on blast, like, he was abusing this person. Long story short, the person, the defendant, ultimately testified on his behalf and stood his ground and was like, yeah, no, we was having a bad day. Like, I was just happy to be alive kind of bad day. And so he was being charged with aggravated assault and assault on a dependent care person. Like, he was looking at some serious charges. And so Danielle got up there and did her thing, and homeboy was found not guilty. And so we were just really, really happy at that. Scotty, you have any thoughts on what you saw that day?
Yeah, and one of the main things is that the person who was filming the incident only got the tail end of the incident.
Right.
And he himself was wanted by the police. There was a warrant out for him. So he didn't turn the film in. What he did was he went on Facebook and asked, does anybody know who this guy is that was the caretaker for the special needs person? And what this guy did not see and did not film was the caretaker driving down the road with the patient, grabbing his neck and beating him upside the head because he would not take him to the park.
Right.
He was trying to get to the side so he could pull over the side of the road so that they didn't have an accident and both of them get killed. So he pulled over to the side of the road, and when he got to the side of the road, he turned around to the guy and tried to get him out of the car so that he could, because you couldn't bustle in the car, so that he could get him to calm down, and get him straight. And this is what this guy was filming. And instead of coming over and finding out what's going on, he's hiding in his car filming.
Mm-hmm.
This is what he sends out on Facebook, and people say, oh, yeah, I know him. I know so-and-so. And this is what brought it to fruition.
Right. And you know what? I don't think they recognized his face because it was literally a sliver. And that was the dependent person. I don't think we ever really saw these. I couldn't see where I was sitting. I could not see the defendant's face. But what I did see was that he got his license plate when he pulled off.
Yeah.
That's how they found out who he was, because he didn't have the defendant's face on camera.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
They got it off the license plate, and he could have easily sent that to somebody to send it to the police anonymously. They could have did all that instead of getting it on Facebook. And he did ask, was he okay? And that was a cross-examination. They were like, well, didn't you phone a friend? Did you call this? He was like, I'm literally just happy to be alive.
For my life.
Have the skill set to take care of this person or to remedy this situation. Like, they were asking the most ridiculous questions. Like, in this moment, I'm not thinking, who can I call to help me? Like, I know this person, I know what his, issues are. If I can get him calmed down, the house is 5 minutes down the road. Right. I'm gonna get him home, and I'm gonna go on and about my thanking my Lord for my life. You know what I'm saying? So it's just so ridiculous, the questions that they ask and how they try to paint these pictures. And it's like, what kind of fucking crayon box are you coloring with? Because none of this makes sense. They got the invisible crayon just trying to paint pictures, and it's, I don't know, frustrating.
And the person who was filming it, okay, he got himself in a flick because then they knew where he was and they wanted an arrest in him.
Right.
But on the flip side, they were going to give him a deal, okay, to testify against the caretaker. But that flipped, and he wound up still being in jail. The caretaker was found not guilty, and he wound up still being in jail.
And he's looking at decades.
Right.
I don't know what his charges are, but he's looking at decades. And this is how they show things. This is like when we're in the courtroom, like they dismiss the jury, right? Because the dude, the witness, he's in plain clothes. He's not in an orange jumpsuit. So we're sitting back there like, is he in custody?
Right.
And it wasn't until the jury left that he got up, because that's what it said. You better not move. Don't move till the jury, till we come up. And that's when the sheriffs got up and put him back in cuffs.
Yeah,
so no, right. He's not even out on bail.
Right.
They brought him there to testify. You're absolutely right. And it's like, y'all go through all of this to try and railroad this guy.
With same living guy, no charges, no problems, no nothing. He's doing something to try and help this man who has a problem, and then they wind up skateboarding him right in the doggone prison.
Exactly.
He's trying to protect himself and the patient. He was protecting both of them. Trying to restrain him. Yeah.
Doing what he was hired to do.
Right.
Right. That was his job, to keep that man safe.
And even the guy's father said, he's always been great. We've never had a problem with him taking care of our son. He's been doing it for the last 3 years. So we don't know what happened. Then the ADA tried to say, well, he was this, he was that, you didn't know this and you didn't know that, trying to get him to bust, but he didn't bust. He said we never had a problem.
He stood 10 toes down.
Right.
Yep. And so we have one of our favorite taglines in the movement is, when we fight, we win, right? And so we shout it out all the time. And that goes not just for the attorneys, but for the defendants, the people that are facing charges, for their families. Like, when you fight, you win.
Hold on, I don't mean that then it's Cheltenham, because I'm on now and they got the defendant behind bars reading him his arraignment. It's Cheltenham detectives. Yes. I said it was, yeah.
Okay. Well, if you see any others, take note, and we'll compile a list, and we'll get it all together and submit this information. But yeah, so, and again, when we fight, we win. So we will report back when we fight the fact that they're making individuals, male and or female, white, black, whatever, stay in the cage while they're being arraigned. So Cheltenham Police Department is one of them. We will keep taking notes and figuring out how many or which other ones are doing this, and we'll definitely send in a complaint, and we'll let you know how it turns out. Because when we fight, we win, and we intend on winning. So that will be a practice. They no longer practice. I mean, how lazy are you? You know what I mean? And so you don't want me to get back on that soapbox. And so today, both of us were all three of us were in court today. And I don't know, my creative wit has been going on 1,000 today. And so y'all gonna get a kick at this. Stand your ground, but not if you're brown.
Right. Hey, that's the truth. Yeah.
Stand your ground, but not if you're brown. So there's a homicide, and again, y'all tell me, because I'm just stupefied. Because to be honest, with a stand your ground defense, I did not believe or expect it to be a first-degree murder charge, and it is a first-degree murder charge because he's still in custody. They just reduced his bail just enough so that he's not in 23-1. So Mr. Maurice Byrd is still in custody while he's fighting this case on a stand the ground where they got video of this man charging him. after he's been verbally abused and threatened and assaulted. You know, this person, fearful for his life, shot and killed this person. And his defense is stand your ground. And there is video and evidence and witnesses to prove it, but yet the DA is pursuing first-degree murder.
Yeah.
Anybody
We were in there this afternoon. They were trying to say that they had an altercation earlier, and the ADA wanted to know, did you say to the victim that you were going to shoot him if he came around here again? And he said, hey, I might have. He said, because he comes around here acting crazy. He blocked me off, wouldn't let me move. I had to call the police. He came in my shop and tried to get me. He said, and I had a baseball bat at that time. He said, I might have said, you know, I'll shoot you. He said, because I was feeling threatened.
Was that during his interview, or did he take the stand?
That was during his interview.
Okay, I must have fell asleep on that part.
No, you weren't in court.
Oh, they had a second, because we listened to the first interview.
Right.
Oh, so they had a second interview.
Yeah, where
detective.
they asked him, yeah,
Okay.
those questions.
Mm-hmm. But that wouldn't have been the same day. How you go from a bat to having a firearm?
No. That was a different day. That's what he said.
Right.
Leading up to the shooting, this guy has been harassing him, you know,
Right.
calling him out his name, coming to a shop with a lot of craziness and
Right.
so on and so forth. And this it was the combination of all this stuff coming down to the line and
Right.
him being shot.
And so is that what they're trying to base their first degree murder charge on, that they had a previous altercation?
That they continue to have altercations, yeah.
To
What
read.
we're not saying is that the victim has always been the aggressor.
Right.
Yeah.
And the
This guy
detective.
tried to tell him, right, this guy tried to tell him, hey, he said, look, man, he says, I don't have nothing against you. Next time you come, he said, I'll give you a free haircut. Let's squash this stuff. We're here. We're both living here. Let's squash
Right.
this stuff. Guy didn't want to have it.
So
Taria.
let me piggyback off of that, where they're trying with their motives at that I'm seeing at the time.
Before you do that, can you give me the definition of what's required for first degree murder?
First degree murder is supposed to be premeditation.
Right.
And they're saying that
Listen,
I don't know how they got this breakdown now of first degree murder in Montgomery County, because they're the only ones that I ever heard say that premeditation is at a second. It don't have to be planned. I never heard of that ever in my life. Even when I was in school for criminal justice, I never in my life heard that premeditated murder was not a planned murder.
It is instantaneous.
If it's not planned, it's not premeditated.
Yes. So they're saying that it can happen at an instant. Like basically somebody can just that quick take it to just premeditation. And I never heard it before. Never until I've been in these homicide cases with these DAs, especially the one that's just trying this case right now, Samantha Kaufman. She's always quick to use that premeditation as a blink of an eye to really, to me, to wind up the jury, because she know that they already don't know what's going on. And after that, it makes them kind of confused. And then the charging makes them even more confused, because first degree and second degree all sound the same. And then you got third degree that is with a reckless intention. Like basically you didn't mean to kill the person, but it happened in a reckless act where you had no heart of hearts and things like that. Second degree is doing the commission of a felony, and first degree is premeditation.
Right.
And their theory to what I'm getting at, they're trying to pit the motive as premeditation. Now that's where I think they're coming down the stretch at. And that's where they're trying to tie the premeditation and the first degree in it. And what Pop-Up just said is that, what Scotty just said is that they're trying to do that by one, playing that interview, saying that he specifically said to a cop before, if he came into my shop, that I would shoot him dead. That's one. Two is they found it. I guess they had the brother get on the stand and specifically say that his brother told him that if anything ever happened to him, to have his sister go to the house and go to the file cabinet and get something out of there and take it to the police. That's two. So they picked up these pictures that the brother had photocopied inside of his file cabinet, and one of the pictures said, Steve sucked my dick D. So what they did is that they had an expert come in, a handwriting expert come in after the brother testified to say that that was the handwriting of the defendant.
What?
Saying that. But that was 2 years prior to this situation. This was 2 years prior. This was right before he gave him the apology letter and everything. So what his attorney did was he went up to the handwriting expert and said, "Did you ever see this?" And that was the letter of the apology with his client's handwriting on it. He said, "No, I've never seen that." So
it's what they want to show them.
Yes. And then they also tried to say, so the motion when we went back at, well, y'all wasn't in there, but I was at 12:45 when we went back for the motion of having the nigger word come in and them to be able to say that this is what the guy said out his mouth. The judge denied it because she's saying that he's not here to defend himself in his words. But even the defense lawyer said that it's case law that states this, that he can be, it could be bought out, that was his intention during the time of the commission of the crime.
Right.
That he was the aggressor.
Right.
So I'm just hoping that, so what they did is they tried to get it out of the brother. So he asked the brother, was he biased? And does he not like black people? The brother said he don't have no problem against black people. He asked him, did you ever use the N-word? He said, no, I didn't. So the defense attorney pulls up records with a text message from the brother's phone saying the N-word. Then he turns around and pulls up another text message from the brother's phone 2 to 3 days after the brother got killed, stating, oh, I guess he is an N now since he killed them.
The brother said that.
Then the brother said that. And then Samantha Kaufman cross-examined him and said, did you only say that because your brother got killed by this guy? He said, and you was angry. She was trying to justify the count. And he said, I guess, or maybe I was drunk. And when he said the drunk, she almost fell on the floor.
I'm sorry I missed that.
So the juror, now gets deeper. So the juror says, I'm sorry, Your Honor. One of the jurors, lady jurors, she says, I'm sorry, Your Honor, but can you please, I missed that part of the text message about the N-word. Can you play that back to me? So Risa Freeman tells her that she has to wait a minute and she'll get back to her. So at this time, the guy was still on the stand. So she let him off the stand, and then she another witness came up. So then at the end, when we was about to leave out, she said, well, I told y'all yesterday that you have to, if you have any questions or concerns about a situation, you have to let me know when a witness is on the stand because we don't have no way to going back.
Oh my God.
So yeah, so I hope and I pray, and this is what I was telling the people outside, I hope and I pray that this juror, if she doesn't get that back in where she needed to hear, I hope that that's a question in the deliberation room that she brings up so they can show her the transcripts of them text messages from the brother in the group text to the decedent's phone while it still was at the police station.
But that the judge just contradicted herself. If she paused the juror when she asked in the moment, following her instructions, and tells her to wait, and then says it again afterwards, like, make that make sense.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
While he was on there, she said before he gets off the stand, I did not hear that clearly. Can you have them repeat that? And she says, I'll get back to you.
And
Yes,
never
she
did.
did. And never did until the end of the day at 5 o'clock when she dismissed us out of that courtroom.
Wow. Well, maybe whoever will write a note and slide it to the defensive team that put a little reminder that she did not address this yesterday. Y'all might have missed it.
That's an important piece.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we can talk about that and figure out what we just gonna put on this little note, put it on the defense table, or slide it to the attorney. Because yeah, that's wild. Like right there. And so again, not an empty courtroom, and she just did what she wanted to do. Why? Because she saw that the case is now turned left. Because whatever the ADA, they're losing their case.
So I heard another thing too, from one of the family members that apparently they are just playing the audio of what Mr. Bird says, but when it comes to the other guy, what he said, they're muting it.
Right, it's muffled.
Yeah,
Right.
that's not right. That's not fair. That's not fair. Because how can you hear Mr. Bird so clear, but you can't hear this guy clear at all?
That's what the defense attorney was saying this morning. He says, how come? He says, if he was 4 or 5 feet away, you could hear Mr. Bird, but you can't hear what he's saying. And they're saying because of the door being closed and so on and so forth. He said, no, that can't be it.
No.
And that was
He
asking
talked about filtering the sound.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
They jammed her up this morning.
Well,
yeah, but Detective Long, I don't think she really wants to keep on being on the stand because she's kind of contradicting herself a lot too. Because now all of a sudden it seemed like when
we can't see you. Your fingers over the camera.
Oh, sorry. It's like she's kind of contradicting herself because all of a sudden now when they brought out that it was the apology letter in there, you didn't notice that after the recess, they went back to their archives and got that other stuff pulled up. So now today they show all this stuff that he took pictures of in 2021, like the camera of the guy, like he was showing intent that the guy was kind of like stalking him and invading his privacy.
Right.
And then they got him pitting. Yeah, he put his hand over the guy's camera. You know what I mean? Probably taunting him a little bit. But still, where did this man ever say to this guy, I'm going to kill you or I'm going to do this? Like, sucker thing? That ain't no harsh words.
Right.
People say that all day long. So you got to come a little better. But to me, if this guy feared for his life so much, why was all the calls from Mr. Bird and none of the calls from the decedent?
Right. Exactly.
Why'd you keep coming to his shop?
That's what I'm saying.
And
I blame the police.
Every time you seen him.
Yeah, and I blame the police too.
Yeah.
Because I believe that they should be held accountable for this man's death too, because this man called you guys, told y'all to hurry up. He's upcoming to try to attack me.
The police are the ones that told him to install cameras inside his shop because of this man.
Yes.
So it's crazy. It's crazy. So
it's sad.
Very much so. And this man has been incarcerated from day one. He has not been home. He has no bail. They're giving him difficulty with his visiting visitors list, and sometimes the systems go down, and he doesn't have contact with his people for 2 or 3 days. And I was talking to some of his friends that were there to support, and yeah, like he's going through it, and it's like, why? You know what I mean? You want to charge this man with something, but you overreaching and going to get your pound of flesh one way or another.
And this man cooperated fully
from the door.
Fully. And he even
called with 911 when it happened.
yes, and he had me in tears though. I'm not gonna lie. When he was on there crying, because I believe them tears was tears of I ruined my life behind this mess that I was asking these people that's supposed to protect and serve me to help me with. And they act like they did not help me. And I believe it's because of the color of his skin. I believe it was the color of his skin.
But also,
And-
too, Tarina, and I don't disagree with you. But the first time when she said, anytime there's a death, we have to turn on every stone. And he was like, he died. He was genuinely in shock, remorseful, horrified. And he just kept saying, like, this fucking Reed, this idiot, he's an idiot. Like, why he make me, like, he was like upset because he didn't want to do that. This man kept coming at him. And it's like, I tried to get y'all to help me. Like you said, I asked for help. I was on the phone with 911 when it went down.
Because they asked, what was that noise? They said, what was that noise? He said,
you know what that noise is?
Yeah. Yeah. He said, he's coming in. He's coming in at me.
Yeah, he's coming at me. He's coming at me. It's crazy.
I just hope that he has some strong defense witnesses. I do know I've ran into a guy that is supposed to testify for him. He used to be a patron. But I just hope that even that couple that he said seen everything. Like, I hope that I hope that they're there, because nobody called the cops in this situation. Even, yes, the guy in the store came and rendered aid, but he even couldn't say that Maurice was a bad dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was like, he's been my neighbor, business neighbor for a while. And we speak and keep it moving, So
Maurice is an educated man. I don't know if you got to hear his credentials. He's a combat veteran, disabled veteran. He's got master's degrees, bachelor's degrees, this degree, that degree. He teaches. He's a substitute teacher in the Philadelphia school system. Like, he's all around a good dude. Yeah. And, he clearly, is asking for help, not on just that day, but the multiple times that there have been police calls. For this. And for them to continue to, twist the knife when he's already suffering, because he didn't want to take that man's life. He
not at all.
He didn't intend to. And, it's just.
And I just hope that I hope that the jury finds in their heart the real deal and break down, if, at least at any given, if they bring back any verdict, it needs to be involuntary manslaughter. And if it's not a self-defense, I'm banking for a self-defense. Yeah, but clearly Daly is not no first degree murder charge. Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, because if he wanted to kill him, okay, he wouldn't have called 911. He would have let him come in. And as soon as he came in, whether he put his hands on him, cussing or whatever, all he had to do was blast him up inside the shop. If he really wanted to kill him.
Yeah.
Oh, real quick before we go, and that's another big question too, that the family had a question at the end this afternoon when I talked to a few of them. Where is the tape? This guy has so many cameras that they're showing. Where is the tape of that incident? Because them cameras blatant daily showed that whole road of that business. So where was these cameras active that day of the shooting and altercation? Because it would show the whole thing. It would show the whole thing.
A bunch of videos of them seeing it. Yeah, they had it on camera. Now, I don't know if there's other cameras from like the township or whatever, but yeah, they had lots of video that they were showing. So it's clear that, man was the aggressor, and the defense did a good job of pointing out the number of times he walked back and forth he walked to his apartment, walked back to the shop. Walk to his apartment, walk back to the shop, walk to his sister, walk back to the shop. So yeah, he was just fixated.
But they're trying to say that Maurice lied. They're trying to pick out that he lied about going in the shop to get his cell phone, that he already had his cell phone in his hand. What does that matter, though? What does that matter? He went back into his shop. He didn't go back and get a gun. So you didn't go see him get a gun. You didn't go see him. Now, if that was your motive there, you talk about, oh, he had his cell phone in his hand already. So that little one white lie, it didn't say he went back in there and picked up a gun.
Right.
If you came with that with me, then it would be better.
He just went through a traumatic experience. You know, how many times have you been talking on your cell phone and you say, looking for my cell phone? Where's my cell phone at? Where's my cell phone at? You understand what I'm saying? He just went through a traumatic experience. He ain't thinking about it in his hand. He going back looking for it. Come on, we've all done that. I know I have.
Yep, I definitely have. I'm embarrassed to say. Hold my phone, looking for my phone.
Right. Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I appreciate that little comedic break. We needed to laugh a little bit because that's really, really heavy. Like, you know what I mean? Yes, we got the win and we're going to look to get some more wins, but this stuff is really, really heavy. And so we're going to hold it down for the Maurice Byrd and his family, that he gets justice. But also, too, we always say this when there's a homicide and loss of life, there's never any winners. Nobody wins in this. You know, we're not saying F the family and he deserved to die. We're absolutely not saying that. This is a tragic, tragic situation when people's emotions and, you know, whatever substance they may be using or whatever get the best of them and situations get out of control. This is something that can happen. And so we just want it to be understood and dealt with accordingly. So we're going to take a quick commercial, and then we're going to come back with the what the fuck moment. But I think our commercial, we have April is coming up. Next Tuesday is April 1st, y'all. And so for the month of April, our Cannabis Chronicles t-shirts are back. $20 if you're looking to cop one of these cannabis drawings. They're dope. I wear 3. It was rocking hers the other day, last weekend. So we have those that are available. We also have our Got Bail t-shirts. So if you need one of those, $25. They've been seen around town and across the country because they're getting sent out. So if you want to be a guest on our show, that's a way to get a free t-shirt, because I'm going to send you one. And also the Protect Your People book. Like, this is something that's coming out of San Jose, California. A bunch of authors from the hubs across the country have told their stories about how extraordinary people are doing, ordinary people are doing extraordinary things of getting wins and freeing their loved ones from the grips of incarceration. So you want to support the organization, support the movement, you know, go to our website, grab one, like, follow, and share on all of our social media so that we can get more eyes. The link is in the comments for our the shirts and stuff. And yeah, like we just, you know, want to keep telling these stories until, you know, it gets some traction and, you know, we start to see that systemic change. All the information that we're gathering, stay tuned for the report. So, Mr. Scott, your first day back on the job, what's your what the fuck moment since you've come back?
Yeah, I want to know what the fuck y'all been doing since I've been gone.
Holding it down, I told you. So holding it down, man. Yes, yes, you did.
Glad you guys could do what you need to do to keep things moving.
Yeah, and I'm glad. We're glad to have you back. You were missed. Your perspective is valued, and you know, we just appreciate you. T, you got WTF?
I just say when the F are we going to just get it together and just educate. I just always continue to stress education.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
the system is just not for us.
Right, it's not. It's not. It's definitely not.
And I was saying that was a prime example today. And I was telling Mr. Scotty this, that you can tell he never ever got in trouble with the law because he didn't know that when it was time to say, I need a lawyer.
Right.
He got sucked in like all people that have never got a traffic ticket do. Mm-hmm. And we done seen so many people do confessions without saying a confession because they don't know the law and they don't know what can incriminate them or not. But the detectives and the police know. And we have to use that the right to remain silent.
Yeah, that is your right. It does not imply guilt or anything. So start exercising your rights, people. Don't say nothing, no matter how right you think you are, how justified you think you are in that situation. They will find something that you don't remember doing, and they will turn it into a criminal situation, and they will exploit that, and you will find yourself tied up in a court case. So yeah, we're gonna end on that. Knowledge is power. It's not something they can take from you. If you're not a reader, watch these podcasts. You don't have to listen to it. You can listen to the audio. Oh, we're about to be on Spotify and all that stuff. I know I'm premature with it, but it's coming. So yeah, you'll be able to just listen to the audio. You don't have to watch it, but you'll be able to listen to the audio. Just pluck the gems that are being dropped, pick them up. You know what I mean? We're dropping gems every other week, you know, to help our people and all people stay out of the system, because it's not just black and brown. It's disproportionately black and brown for sure. But, you know, like the dude with the caretaker, he was a straight up white dude, you know, just as humble and mild. And, you know, it's like, are y'all serious? Like, the DA's just got a vengeance for, you know, prosecution and not recognizing the human experience. So, yeah. So.
And what you have with the people, and I'm saying all people, as you say, have to remember, you might not need us today, but tomorrow ain't promised that you will need somebody to be with you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely not something you want to go alone.
Right. You can wake up in the morning and it's different. I've been there. Partied all night, woke up in the morning surrounded. So you never know.
That's it. The only way I'm going to jail is by accident. I'm doing that shit on purpose. Absolutely not. And with that, I say I love y'all. I appreciate you. We will see y'all in court tomorrow and see how this saga plays out. And hopefully we'll have a special edition just to kind of give y'all, we'll do a video or do a quick something to let y'all know how this case ends up. Prayerfully, we'll have a win for y'all. All right. Peace out.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Purely Speculation. If you learned something, share something. Please like, follow, and share this show. The more our communities know, the more they are empowered and the faster we can create change. Purely Speculation would not be made possible without the generous support of the Community Justice Exchange, the Health Sparks Frank E. Boston Black Justice Fund, Philadelphia Foundation, and Reform Alliance. Thank you. Booyah!
Intuition different, already lived and dreamt it. Visions make my vision clear as I'm jogging through this fog of life. I be fog lights with the fog set, body and I'm all set. Baby, can you be my Cardi B on an offset? Toast we got it, self we building still materials.